Hey y'alls, welcome back. It's me, Dr. Edwards, and I wanted to put together a little video to help orient you for your Milestone 2. And this milestone really kind of is addressing two key aspects of the grand final project: logistics and ethical considerations. All right, and you might actually, uh, you know, uh, provide specific headings for those sections. It'll make it really clear what you're addressing by doing that. You might even use the specific critical element titles to help organize and structure your milestone too as well. Um, so that's this kind of structural stuff. But in terms of the content, right, the meat of it, yeah, I wanted to take a minute and go over these key critical elements and what I'm going to be looking for. So you'll see here I have milestone 2 up, the rubric for it. And again, as I've said, you want to start with reading over the general prompt and then focus in on the specific critical elements and the things that I'm going to be looking for. All right. So first up, it asks about how your theoretical orientations will shape your infrastructure needs. Okay, and this is if you look here in terms of the critical elements, I'm going to be looking for you how you explain the development of tourism and planning logistics affects the way one would or would not develop infrastructure using anthropological theoretical orientations. Now, that's a whole bunch of blah, 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 blah. To translate that, what are your infrastructure needs for your tourism proposal? You know, what are the specific logistics that you're going to need to achieve those, right, or to have those things happen? And you're going to want to use anthropological kind of perspectives to help outline that. For example, if you're planning on, having tourists come in and visit some indigenous group or traditional society within your country. Um, it, is there places for people to stay? Right? Are you going to need roads, hotels, things like that? Those sorts of ideas of development really kind of fall under anthropological theoretical perspectives of modernization. So you see how I'm kind of connecting the infrastructure logistics to the anthropological perspectives. All right, that's really kind of the key thing here. Moving on to the impacts of identity. Up here, it asks about how external and internal forces shape the identities of your country's various cultural groups. And here you can see in the critical element, it explains how the investment in infrastructure and increased tourism might impact the identity of the cultural group. Now, um, you want to think about things that are going to impact your group from the outside and things that are going to impact your group from the inside. Okay, that's the internal and external. Um, if and again, you're going to want to use anthropological kind of perspectives on that as well. So, globalization, a very fundamental thing, and tourism, big part of it. Okay, what sort of impact is that? That would be a good external example, right? Globalization is an external force. How is that going to impact your group? All right, or outside ideals going to be adopted? Is it going to just their mere presence? Is it going to have an impact on the peoples? That might connect to local belief systems and ideals. You can also think of internal forces. Belief systems, right, is a good one. National ideologies. Like here in the U.S., we're a capitalistic society, right? We're all about time is money. might that sort of thing have an impact on your group? Yeah, and you'll see that it has a couple of different parts here. This first is the impact to identity, and then another key part to that, in terms of the impacts, external and internal, is you needed to develop some sort of strategy for how your tourists, outside groups, are going to be made feel welcome in this place, which has a very unique and complicated history. Um, you know, uh, Remember in Milestone 1, we had that key part about addressing bad press, or, the complicated history of your particular place. Well, you know, um, outsiders might have some feelings about that. How are you going to make them feel welcome, right? Yeah, you need to give that some good consideration. And again, I'll point out, we're kind of looking at this proficient column. And the big difference between that and the exemplary is the bells and whistles, right? The cherry on top, the whipped cream, the sprinkles. You know, Going and finding good sources to support your points is a great way to do that. Okay, I always want to encourage you to back up and support your points, right, with scholarly sources. Wikipedia, avoid it like the plague. Okay, general encyclopedias and such, don't go there. Go find a social science resource. Sociology, geography, anthropology, political science, all of that is fine. General news stories from syndicated news sources, those are great. But yeah, avoid the blogs, the Wikipedia and things like that. Anyway, to get back to these critical elements here. So what I just outlined was kind of like the logistics aspect of this milestone 2, and the next key part is the ethical repercussions. Okay. Now, last week I included some valuable resources about ethics and anthropology, all right? Kind of the standards by which we have to live by and practice our professional responsibilities. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I would suggest checking those out because those might be mighty useful for this. In fact, there's some case studies of some ethical issues that anthropologists have to deal with, and those should give you some good ideas about, kind of our professional responsibilities as anthropologists, and and the ethical standards that we have to maintain, and their repercussions on groups. Think of it this way: uh, we're talking about tourism, so what is this influx of money? Where's it going to go? All right. The state's going to want their chunk of it. They might get to that through taxes and things like that. But what about the local community, right? Don't they deserve some profit from this tourism endeavor? Um, yeah, within that community, how might those proceeds be divvied up? And you're going to want to consider the local kind of economic system. Um, to be able to align things, right? It would be really unethical to have the profits go to just a person, okay? Or maybe in that society, there is a central authority where things are submitted and then redistributed, but you'd have to be able to outline that, okay? Let's see here, and the kind of the flip side is, as I just explained, you're going to want to develop some strategies for that. So that's really kind of these two critical elements right here. And then, of course, got to proof your work, proof for typos, punctuation, grammar. You may have seen in my past feedback, I highlight Grammarly. It's a great resource. It runs in the background of anything that you're writing, and clues you into to typos, grammar issues, things like that. I definitely give it 2 thumbs up. Well worth it. And of course, cite your stuff. I think I already said that. Yeah, and of course, if you're hitting a wall, you got a speed bump, you're having issues with something, please don't hesitate to call, email, text me, whatever you need, right? And I can help you brainstorm some good strategies on how to deal with whatever you're facing. Okay. So yeah, that's where I'm going to leave this. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to y'all's work. And yeah, I'll see you in the discussion boards. Take care, y'all.